During the most recent edition of the annual Army-Navy football game, a few cadets and midshipmen were shown on camera displaying an upside-down OK sign. This caused quite a stir, as since 2017, the OK sign, whether shown right side up or upside down, has been associated with white supremacy, especially the tedious, quasi-ironic racism of the alt-right. But not to worry, both Army and Navy conducted investigations into the incident and both discovered that there was no racist intent behind the signs, and instead, the cadets and midshipmen, future battleground decision makers, were playing a children's game known as the circle game, in which you make a circle with your thumb and forefinger, you get someone to look at the circle, and then you punch them in the arm. Now, this goes all the way back to 2017 when 4chan trolls conned some reporters into believing that the OK sign represented the letters W and P, which in turn stood for white power. The only thing about that prank is that so many alt-right people began making the OK sign in photos that there became no distinction between the prank racism and sincere racism. So now every time that somebody shows the traditional OK sign, people say, hey, that's racist. And then the right says, it's not racist, it's just the OK sign. And anytime somebody shows an upside down OK sign, people say, hey, that's racist. And the right hides behind the circle game defense. Now, here are 3 reasons why the circle game defense is total horseshit. Reason number 1. Signs are not static, they change over time. Traditionally in Italy, the devil horn sign was used to ward off the evil eye. But then a kid named Ronnie James Mother Effing Dio learned the sign from his grandmother, and Dio started using the sign while performing on stage with his band, a little outfit named Black Sabbath. The National Gang Crime Research Center asserts that members of MS-13 learned the sign from Dio while attending Black Sabbath shows, and the guys in MS-13 adopted this as their gang sign for 2 reasons. 1, it's totally bitchin', and 2, when you flip it, it makes an M. Kind of. So, just like it's possible for the devil's horns to change meaning from a folk means of protection to MS-13 gang identifier by way of Ronnie James Mother Effing Dio, it's equally possible for the circle game sign to become a symbol of white supremacy because signs change over time. Reason number 2. Signs change with context. A sign can have multiple meanings at the same time within the same culture with the particular meaning of a given representation of the sign depending on the context in which it is displayed. So, for example, when Obama shows the OK sign towards his interpreter at the United Nations, we understand that Obama is saying, okay, I hear you loud and clear. It's even possible for someone who repeatedly makes the OK sign as a sort of idiosyncratic means of emphasizing a point while public speaking to show the sign without it having any white supremacist meaning whatsoever, even when the speaker became president of the United States by courting white supremacists. And when Oklahoma quarterback Chandler Morris is on campus for a football event and he flashes the devil horn sign upside down, we understand that this means horns down as a way of taunting Oklahoma's arch rivals, the University of Texas Longhorns. And we understand that Morris is not representing MS-13. But wait, doesn't all the fluidity of meaning related to time and context mean that while alt-right people might use the OK sign to signify ironic racism, the cadets and midshipmen during the Army-Navy game were simply playing the circle game? It could, except for reason number 3, this asshole. Neo-Nazi Richard Spencer, who in addition to the OK sign, has publicly given the Nazi salute, specifically during a karaoke night while listening to a rendition of America the Beautiful as performed on stage by his one-time friend, this asshole, Milo, the disgraced Simon & Schuster author who was humiliated by his editor, and disgraced lawyer who was humiliated by a judge, and the one-time only gay in the alt-right village has a long history of Nazi flirtation going all the way back to his choice of email passwords while he worked at Breitbart, notably the password LongKnives1290, which simultaneously shouts out the Nazis' infamous purge of perceived opponents and the year that King Edward I exiled all Jews from England. Next up, this asshole, Riley Grisar, leader of the Las Vegas chapter of Turning Point USA, who displayed the OK sign on video with a young woman while screaming, "White power, fuck the black people," but that's not the vocabulary they chose. Next up, this asshole, Trump intern Jack Brewer, who flashed the OK sign during a group shot with POTUS. Later, Brewer told a reporter, quote, "I'm proud of my Jewish heritage and strongly reject the hateful views associated with racist white power organizations," which is weird because as an intern working for the Trump White House, Brewer was working for a white power organization. Also in the White House, this asshole, Mike Cernovich, showed the sign after getting a press pass. I'm not sure if Cernovich earned the press pass for his writing about the impossibility of raping a woman because all women secretly want it, or his writing about the pedophile sex dungeon in the basement of a Washington, D.C. pizzeria as presided over by Mistress Hillary Clinton. But in any case, he got the press pass. He made the sign while standing next to Cassandra Fairbanks, a reporter for Sputnik, a media entity owned by the Russian government. In addition to the sign's traditional all is well meaning, Fairbanks sought an additional layer of deniability for her OK sign by appealing to her Puerto Rican ethnicity, because as we know, no member of a marginalized group has ever sold out the interest of that group to be the only gay in the village, or the only gay Asian in the village, or the only black woman in the lynch mob, or the only Puerto Rican in the Hurricane Dorian, go fuck yourself party. That brings up the zany Sieg Heil boys from Baraboo, Wisconsin, who put a nice point on the connection between the OK sign and white supremacy. A few hours before their 2018 prom, this barrel of crackers cracked themselves up with a barrel of laughs by throwing the Nazi salute in their group photo. You'll notice a gentleman in the front row opted against going full NSDAP Nazi while still getting his point across. But come on, they're high schoolers, right? Stupid kids. Same for the midshipmen and cadets. They're just stupid kids. That might be the case, but as Joseph Bernstein wrote in his reporting on the Baraboo kids for BuzzFeed, why were our kids stupid in this particular way? The answer is because white supremacy has become commonplace. It's part of the lingua franca of online culture. As Bernstein wrote, these images don't and can't exist within the simple context of boys being stupid in an anonymous town, not any longer. These images and the impulses behind them are part of a terrifying conversation happening all over the world. One of the most terrifying parts of that conversation took place in the spring of 2019, when a 28-year-old man live-streamed the mass shooting of 100 people, 51 of whom died, at two mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. Before beginning his real-life first-person shooter spree, the man told his achingly internet-literate audience to subscribe to PewDiePie. This was a few minutes after he emailed the media his meme-heavy manifesto, which referenced the alt-right's fictional white genocide and praised the very real genocide of Bosnian Muslims during the 1990s. When the shooter appeared in court, he flashed the upside-down OK sign to signify his dedication to white supremacy. Or, I don't know, maybe he was just playing the circle game. Okay, you see that subscribe button? I want you to hit that thing like you walked up to Richard Spencer on the street and said, "Hey, Richard." And he turns around and looks at you and you go, And he's like, "You got me." and you say, yeah, I got you, and fair is fair, and you punch that fucking Nazi. Hit that thing like that right now. Thank you very much.